who are setting records, women who are achieving milestones, even with the little space given to us. Who do I have with me as a guest in the studio? Well, that's for you to sit back, relax while I get my guest introduced. For now, I'll take a short break and I'll be right back. Don't go away. I don't think in gender boxes at all. I just get on with it.
A man that would dare to ask the wife, who do you think you are? That is a real man.
In fact, our husbands are our firstborns. The husband needs more attention than even the children.
It's not only about work, it's not only about family. They need to take the time to look after themselves, and we don't do that.
They took my money, I paid every fees. I never asked to be hoisted as a governor. I wanted to be allowed to go out there and contest for the position of governorship candidate first.
There's nothing greater than looking back and seeing that while you were aspiring, you were able to inspire others.
Empower to women.
Yes.
We need to have more women, more multitaskers around Nigeria to get Nigeria working.
Definitely. If you're just joining us, the program is The Woman, and you're right on time. My name is Elizabeth, and I told you I have a woman you can't wait to watch. She is not just a politician. She's not just an activist. She's not just a woman who sets the record and makes good at getting it. She is the boss of the Nigerian Pass Authority. Join me as I welcome Hadiza Bala. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I was saying off record, and you didn't want me to shout it, but somehow I like to shout. You're so pretty. Prettier than what camera does. You know, better than what I see on camera, really. And it's,
you're being generous.
No, I'm not. You know, I'm being real. I don't think I've done much of that compliment to a lot of people who come and sit here with me. But I'm glad I'm doing it. Anyway, it's God's gift, so we praise Him for that. And thank you for joining us on the program. Now, in 2016, precisely July, your name came on board, and with all controversies and every other thing joined together, you emerged as the managing director of the Nigerian Post Authority. Were you not daunted, you know? Were you scared? I mean, if they told me I'm going to do that now, I'll tell them, hang on, I'm not sure I'm ready. Tell me, how was the mind for you? Because that's a huge position for a woman.
And I guess maybe fear and being scared is not in my dictionary. Naturally, I'm very bold and confident person. So at that point, all I kept focusing on is, I need to understand the sector. I need to, get my head in and know what it is that I need to know and how I need to get this job done. And I also then focus on reading all of these things that have been said about me. That way, it wouldn't distract me. So I wouldn't allow, read every other article and all of it. I didn't do that. I was just spending my time reading what I needed to do in terms of getting my work done.
You know, you just gave me something I never really thought about. You know, a lot of people will get to negative criticism and, they lie get to them. And that's because they actually pay mind to it. Yeah. I'll pick that and I'll put it right back.
Don't focus on it.
Exactly.
You can make it your strength and to prove people wrong.
Because people always talk.
Yeah. So you can see one or two things where people might say, she's a girl, she's too young, she doesn't know the sector. And with that in your mind, it will be your strength to say, I'm going to prove all of you wrong, that I can do it. But don't, get deep into that and allow it to get into your head.
That's cool. Now, you just mentioned for that sector, you were not particularly green, but then you were a pro when you joined.
Yes.
But amazingly, you've done so well. What is the secret?
It's reading, understanding, and hard work. It's a lot of work. Putting your mind to it, understanding that it's a huge responsibility you have, and knowing that it's an opportunity that has to be given to you, and how you perform determines what happens to the next woman being given such a job. So you're carrying the weight of not just your own self, but also of a certain generation, a certain gender. So that really, makes you push forward and take on the responsibility of getting things done.
No, I was trying to get through things you've done. There are a whole lot of them, but I found one particularly interesting. The one you did for the women. Share it with me. Women say you're not single, or
yes, they had I inherited a policy where you're only entitled to maternity leave if you're married. And I found that ridiculous because childbearing and childbirth have nothing to do with your matrimonial status. A child is a child. You breastfeed a child irrespective of your... So it's really not an organization's business to hold your maternity leave because of your marital status. I think that is wrong. So I changed that policy. I also bent over backwards to accommodate women in our time of need in childbearing. So some of the policies where you can't take your annual leave with your maternity leave, I said no, we should be allowed to do that, and and also to give us the maximum amount of days approved by the federal government. Nigerian Ports has the maximum. I think in ensuring women stay in appointment, women stay employed, is to allow them have those windows. I think, when you're in the childbearing age, you usually you're quick to resign your job because your baby is sick, you have vaccination, you don't have a nanny, so all of these things, I feel it's our duty. Some of us find ourselves in a position of authority to ensure that policies are put in place to accommodate the young women that are in employment. And also personally, even beyond the policy positions, if you have your supervisor and a young girl has a baby, or my child has a fever from immunization, you should be gracious enough as a person to allow them that leeway, because that is what, if you know the statistics, women get into employment, we start at the same numbers as the men, but we tend to drop out. So after maybe 5 years, when you start having kids, and then you're like, I really can't cope, so we drop out. So by the time we get to executive positions, there are no pool of women available to be promoted to that position. So being able to keep the young girl in employment up until when she gets to the place where she becomes an executive into a management position, that is an integral part of the career of a woman. So we need to find ways where we can ensure we remain in employment, because usually, we need to have support of extended family. We need to have support of our spouses to keep us in that place. So I personally try to see what I can do as much as possible to give those windows beyond even what is official, but to personally talk to them and, you can close early today, it's okay, just send me the report, you can email it to me. So, as women, we should just try to do that at all times.
Yes, you're no, and I'm thinking, why would all bosses just be women? And women like Hadiza.
Well, I'm a taskmaster also.
No. You just said something that I kind of like.
Yes.
Why don't you email it to me? I mean,
Yes.
we're in a digital era.
Yes.
Some bosses insist that you must be there like
Yes.
2-4,
Yes.
if it's possible.
Yes.
But I think it shouldn't always be like that. There are
Yes.
some things you can, do at home. Write and email your boss. It's really okay once the job is done.
Yes, and if you have a problem, your child isn't well, or you're heavily, if you have those circumstances, you explain to your boss. They should be able to understand it doesn't happen every day, it doesn't happen all the time, but we should recognize those errors and allow us allow us as women to sort of,
As you speak, just this morning, I got a call. A young girl died. Because she had to work up until a couple of hours before she went into labor. And the question was, why didn't you take a leave? And she said no, because she is going to have to, forfeit leave after birth. I don't know. This should actually be looked into. But thank you for that. Now, as a woman working in a male-dominated sector, I doff my heart for you. But I'd like to share, how do you manage the intel, all the problems that go on around there? How do you cope?
I think I become, I'll say, maybe gender blind. I just do what I need to do. My last job before being managing director of Nigerian Ports, I was chief of staff to Kaduna State Governor. And in fact, that is more so a job that is not being seen for a woman. So from that point, I sort of just do what I need to do, and refuse to allow that gender bias or gender conversation. What I do cannot be reduced to my gender. Focus on the work I do, and we'll overcome that. So after a while, at the beginning, you see some level of pushback where people don't recognize your authority because you're a woman. But when you're steadfast and you remain firm, you remain with the level of authority required, they would, after a while, recognize that, oh, she's not a pushover, I can just speak to her anyhow, I can just get away with it, and that sort of, becomes the accepted thing. And on our side as women, we also need to be firm, convey your authority without being hysterical, ensure that you have your dignity in the position you occupy, reduce over-socializing to allow that avenue where people can disrespect you or people can have over-social conversation in a workspace. I think we need to de-emphasize that, yes, so that you are more focused and serious. And in certain instances, when people crack jokes that are unacceptable, the way you comport yourself with them, they would realize that such manner of exchange are not acceptable to you, without you being hysterical or having a meltdown. But the way you respond will make them realize that this is a no-nonsense environment, it's a no-nonsense person. Let's get the job done. We're here to work. We're not here to socialize. You're my colleague. You're not my friend. And be firm about it. So on our side as women, there's also a way we need to compose and conduct ourselves to elicit that respect we expect, and that I think is important. And once you establish it 1-2 times, everybody falls in place. For that too, people would now say, oh, she doesn't joke around. So no one would come to you with those manners of joke, because you've established in that your work environment that you're not that lady that wants to laugh around with everybody or over fraternize where it's not required.
Hadiza, somebody was talking to me about you. I wouldn't want to call names now. Yes. And the person saying you came in with 2 portfolios. The portfolio of a mother and woman and the portfolio of the principal, the school administrator. Yes. So you have the carrot and you have the cane. Yes. And it's worked well for you. Yes. But then all your policies you've been able to create and implement, tell me, which of them do you look at and you go, this is where the Eruka feeling fits in?
Well, it's more about, for me, entrenching transparency and accountability and calling people to book and saying that, you can't, you're non-compliant to this regulation, government requires that of you. So for me, that really gives me that sense of satisfaction, making people, if hitherto you felt you could treat government...
You're not scared of stepping on toes?
Well, I'm not scared. Like I said, fear and being scared is not in my dictionary. So I really don't even realize that I'm stepping on toes. And I'm also blind to people's names and positions of authority. I look at the company or the entity and I see, are you doing what is required? And I say, you should do it, without trying to say, remove the masquerade and see who's behind it. I don't want to know who is behind it. X company is not complying. We ensure that it does. And if everybody refuses to allow themselves to be or maybe intimidated by, this is the person behind it, would actually get more things done. So I get a lot of pleasure from that, because that's one of the things that I feel happy about. And also Nigerian ports seem to be an area where there's a lot of money, a lot of so there's huge opportunities for rent seeking. So I say, not everybody has a price. I don't have a price. You can't bribe me. So that's something that I hold very dear.
That's a good one. You can't bribe me.
Yes. People, that notion that everyone has a price. There's so much money we can give to make you sort of bend the rules, accommodate. And I take pride in that we don't have a price here. Not anymore. Nigerian ports and their stuff, I refuse to allow that. And I'm not going to permit that, and I personally don't have a price.
Are you telling us? I followed you from the days, I think 2014, when you were, ride with...
Bring Back Our Girls.
Bring Back Our Girls.
Yes.
You generated the red color.
Yes, I did.
What was the reason behind that?
I felt it was a red flag. We needed to, show the world that it's the red, we highlight that and bring the attention. Yes, so it's something that I hold dear, because the Bring Back Our Girls campaign is an important thing for young girls in girl child education, ensuring our girls stay in school, because abduction of a girl in school makes parents not want to take their children to school anymore. So it is a very important thing for the girl child education.
You talk about girl child. I know you have 2 boys.
Yes, I do.
So with all your movements, I've been following you for the past 2 months, and I know when you fly out, I know when you come in. How do you cope?
It's tough.
Being a mother to them.
Yes, it's very hard. I have to balance and make sure that I'm home in time, and once I'm home, I give them my attention. I take them to school every morning, drop them off, and then go to work.
Okay, you take them yourself?
Yes, I take them to school.
I don't like drivers doing that.
Yes, so on my way to school, to the office, we go together and I take them. And it's quite important. I didn't realize how much, because I think it's important, but I've come to see how much it matters to them. Even if it is 10 minutes you stay with them in the car, it is important. And then I make sure I close by 5:36, so by 6 o'clock I'm at home. And I also don't bring work, in terms of physical work, people home. I don't allow people to come to meet with me at home. I don't allow that. So my home is my sanctuary, is where I'm me. I don't allow people from my office, my work, to come into my home. I do my paperwork at home all the time. I take home work which I call mommy's homework, but I don't allow people to come for meetings.
When they're doing their own, probably in the study room,
yes,
own.
I say that's mommy's homework. So mommy has a suitcase of paperwork she needs to do, so I do that.
Your lecturer is wicked.
yes. So they always say, oh, it's your boss, he's not being petty. And so I don't I do paperwork at home, but I don't bring meetings home. And that's important to separate that, and then give your kids that sense of having your presence. And I keep flying and I'm like taking my flights back to back, just so I'm home. Yes. And then I spend as much as I can with them.
Beautiful. It's not easy. Those of us who've been there and back, we know how it is.
Yes.
To join home, and then from bonding part.
Yes.
For you and your children, it's not easy.
You have to go for 1st of October close. You have to, when they're doing the end of year party, they're doing their class thing. You have to be there. They have presentations in class. You have to make sure you're there. And
do they also try to make you dance?
Yes.
Children.
Yes.
Mommy, can you dance this time?
Yes, and I never know all the things. So it's you must find that space in your time to give it to them, because they grow up and then they're gone. That's it. So my kids are relatively young. They're 9 and 7. So I'm still doing
This is the time to really catch them up with it, because if you don't, before you know it, whatever you don't impact, someone else will do it.
Yes.
And it could just be the negative one.
Yes, and my son once said to me that, Mommy, why don't you do the job of my friend's mom? She works in PTA. She's always in school. So you should leave that job you go to and come and work in PTA, because the PTA moms are always in school. So I said to him, I would apply to Mr. Heaton and see if there's availability for me to work as PT. He said, okay, please ask them, because I want you to work here. Leave that job.
All right, when we talk about women, for me, it's very important as a mom that we provide balanced diets. And it's not something I care to leave for the household. Yeah. Do you still find time to do special dishes for them?
Yes, to the extent that I try to do as much as I can, but also to insist they don't eat a lot of junk. Mm-hmm. I'm not a junk food person, naturally. So in fact, for a while, my kids didn't know all of these things, because I'm not like a Coke, Fanta, soda person. I'm a water person. Mm-hmm. So I usually don't have it in my house, and it's usually for the guests. So my kids for a long time didn't know how to drink all these things. They didn't know how to eat chocolates, because I'm not a chocolate person. So I'm not really a bread person, so they didn't know much about all of that. Mm-hmm. So that to a certain extent helped them, because they didn't know all those things for quite a while. And I try to say, oh no, your portions should be small, you must have fruits, you must have vegetables. So I ensure that they do that. And also constructive recreation is something I'm keen on. My kids have tennis lessons. My son is in a football club. He goes for football practice and training. My other son is doing golf training. He does golf lessons. They do swimming. So it's important for kids to have constructive recreation, because that is where, especially boys, they can vent out their energy. As they get to teenagers. It's good for them to have sports that they enjoy, that they do to sort of let out all their energy and steam. So I insist, like, they must do all their golf lesson, tennis, swimming, and football for my younger son. So
the people that created the educational curriculum and said we must learn the 3 ways: the cognitive, affective, and the psychodomain, of learning. They are not stupid, because if you carry it all along, it gives you the totality of a human being. Okay, away from all that, I'd like to know, for you, how do you recreate?
Yeah, I read. That's what I do. I love to read. Read is that relaxes me. So I read, and I've started exercising. I do Pilates, so that is something that I do for my own recreation. And I think that's it. I'm a bit of a boring person. Don't have much.
I haven't noticed.
Don't have much in that. So that's my own form of relaxation. So
you're not boring at all, but it's good. All right. Before I leave you, there are a lot of women who are out there, watching us as we speak, who seem to think that to make it, you must maybe follow the wrong path, because the country, the world itself is not fair, especially to women. But here you are, a woman, you've stood out, and you just told us that you don't have fear, and you don't care about the name.
Yes.
Be the first or the last name, you don't care about it. I'd like you to lend a word to them, lend a voice to them. Let's know, what it takes to actually stand out on your own.
Yes, I think you should be committed, be steadfast, be focused. Whatever task you're giving, do it to the best of your ability. Always perform in any duty given to you. And as I say, because if you are being told to sweep a particular place, sweep it very well. Don't say that, oh, I don't want to sweep, sweeping is not my thing. Whatever you're given, do it to the best of your ability, and you'll stand out. I remember, like last week, I was telling a friend, through my career, I'm always being made to be secretary. So I used to take notes in like most meetings. I took notes, and I do minutes, action points, task list. I'm always doing that, and that put me in positions and places where so every time people are thinking of, oh, we need somebody to say, oh, Hadiza will do a good job as a secretary, and then I pull that. But at the beginning, the secretary will be, when you're taking notes, you'll be made to photocopy the agenda, you'll be made to do this, but always be efficient and professional about the task you're given. So even now, when I'm CEO, I forget that I'm not the one to take the notes, and I'm taking the notes and putting like, owner to it, whose task is this, what's the timeline for getting this job done. So anything that you're given, do it to the best of your ability. Be very professional. Refuse to allow them to pull you into that box they put every woman. That woman has to be that person that sits in the corner, does nothing, is giggling and laughing, is not able to get anything done, and just so refuse to allow to be put in that box. Be that girl or that lady that is able to take on the task, that is serious, responsible, resourceful, has initiative. If you're required to do A, by the time your boss comes back, you've done A, B, C. So he's able to rely on you and know that you can get things done, and take things to, I'll say, the next level by bringing up ideas. Oh, when we've done this, why can't we do that, sir? I've done this and that and that, because I know that's what we have initiative. Some of us that I'll say blessed to be in certain positions, we must look ourselves as role models and pull the next young lady up, providing that ladder for other young people to come on, and also showing them you can do it, and you can do it better than me. I'm just a managing director of Nigerian ports. We're going to have a managing director of NMPC. We have a minister of finance that is female. So there are all of these things I keep saying to, you'll do much more than we have done.
Definitely, everybody can if you stay focused. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You are indeed a gift to not just the females, but to Nigerians entirely, because some of your people actually spoke out to me. They said the woman is a wow. When she came, we didn't believe in her. We felt she was a woman. What can a woman do in a man's world and all that? But you came in, and not only that you shut them off, but you actually gave them a new narrative, which they will want to sing forever if it's possible. Thank you for representing the woman, the way you've done. And for those of you who have been with us this past few minutes, I wish time was still there, but I want you to pick something. She just told you, please delete fear, delete the word impossible from your dictionary, because God created man and he created woman alike. And if you ask me, I think he took special time on the woman, which is why we can do even greater things. All right, we'll be with you again next time with another exciting personality. The program is The Woman, and I am Elizabeth. Bye for now.